All right, so the last thing, well, maybe not the last thing, but one of the main things I wanted to talk about tonight. So they talked about they added all this new station research for the G5 players. Instead of just doing something to fix the G5 economy directly, like they did previously, where they just sort of changed the scaling on stuff, instead they decided to create a new currency and make like 30 new researches that would then fix the economy that way. So players who were sort of waiting for G4 or G6 to come out, so then they would backfill and make the G5 economy better and or possibly the G4 economy better. Not exactly what it seems like they're going to do this time around. It seems like they're taking a different approach and they're going to do it through station research and this whole new tree right here, or wing, we'll call it, revolving around this new cosmic particle. These are sourced daily through your daily missions. It's in the fourth or fifth box here. Probably won't show me them because I already claimed my dailies for the day. The fourth or fifth box here, doing your dailies, gives you a couple hundred of these things per day. And like, typical efficiencies, you're spending a lot of materials today so that your future stuff tomorrow then gets cheaper. One of the first researches they give you is to make all of your future research cost less cosmic particles. All right. So instead of costing 614, I can lower that by 1%. Well, 1% of 614 is 6. Well, I already did the first level, so I'm going to guess this cost me 620. I did the first level. It lowered it from 620 to 614. So I've now saved 6 for the cost of 600. And as I progressively level this up, I could get it all the way down to a 10% reduction. Now, since everything else in this tree all uses the same particles, yes, what I'm sacrificing today will pay better dividends in the future and save me particles when I go do all of these other researches, but there's no immediate return on the investment here. I'm going to have to invest a large quantity of these cosmic particles, which is going to take quite a while to source them all. I've spent very few of these. So if we think it's been about 2 weeks, maybe we say I spent, we'll call it maybe 2,000. So if I've gotten 7,500 over 2 weeks, I'm getting, what's that, about 500 a day? It's not terrible, but yeah, still it's a slower grind for sure. It will certainly take a very long time to see, all the returns here for a lot of players. And again, this is only for players 51 and up. So if the majority of the population, it's not even applying to you guys yet. But some of these benefits here are actually pretty good, and they do sort of backfill and help out the other economies a little bit as well. Lowering building construction speed. When you've got buildings that take 200, 300 days to finish, this is a great value. I mean, you already have a lot of things that boost building speed, so you're not getting a tremendous return on it. This is basically like using an exocomp. Maybe you knock 10 or 15 days off of a 250-day building, but I mean, every little bit helps. It's less latinum or less speed ups you have to use. Here's a good one for research. I mean, look at this right here, 242 days, right? Here's a good one to help lower research, make this faster so these things don't take as long. But then you start getting into the second and third and fourth wings here, and now you start seeing, okay, this is going to improve my armory and my mess hall are going to get cheaper to upgrade to the tune of 15 to 25%. Eh. Here we go. Here's a good one. This is going to, again, lower more cost efficiency. So those buildings that cost 3 trillion par steel might get a little better, might get a little relief. Here we go with rhodium particles. This is the galaxy tree research that Carissa was mentioning that was an extension that they did last year. So this will save you on those ruthenium particles. This will also save you on rogue research credits as well. If you haven't finished your outlaw tree by the time you get into the 50s, between this research and the new X-Borg research, you probably should be just about done. So this is kind of a throwaway, in my opinion. Or you won't have much left to do. That even if you get this, it's like, yeah, who cares? I was short other materials. It wasn't the rogue credits that were slowing me down from finishing those last couple of nodes. Exotic outfitting here, moving on up. This one helps with your quantum communicators and artifact galleries. So now you can upgrade your fleet commander building and your artifact gallery a little bit faster. Again, not much. Lowering all material costs. This is helping you with your gas, crystal, and ore for research. Small amounts, but a little bit. Same thing with upgrading buildings, small amounts. Now, so far, these things aren't costing materials to upgrade either. I do want to look at stfc.space, though, to see if and when that changes. Let's just look at material concerns here. So this is our new station research. Currently, these only require the cosmic particles, a ridiculous amount of dilithium, and common materials. I'm curious to see if there is a point. Okay, there is a point. Level 3 is where it starts to kick in and starts requiring uncommons. So you basically get the first 2 levels without having to spend uncommon materials. And then you start spending large amounts of uncommon materials going forward. And it looks like you can max out a bunch of the early ones by Ops 56. So probably this early wing here you can max out by 56, but as you progress further and further into here, you're going to have to get closer to 60 to get the rest of the benefits from some of this other stuff. Yep. Yep. Definitely seeing that. Lowering material efficiency. Now, this one I don't get. Here's a whole bunch of researches right here. Improving the generator production. Why? Nobody ever uses their generators. Nobody has enough space to do it, to run them, to pull from them. Why do I care if it's improving the output? If instead of giving me 50,000 an hour, it's now giving me 100,000 an hour, this means nothing when I need 8 billion, 5 billion dilithium. Oh yeah, what did that just improve? What did my generator just go to over here? Well, what's it making? It's making me 670 per hour. Well, let's give you a 50% bonus to that. Like, what the? Are you serious? Are you serious? The darn thing can only hold 13,000 to begin with. So I'm just going to reach my max out point faster when I'm completely broke from doing all of the research in this tree. That one I don't understand. If any of you understand that one better than I do, or where that's coming from, or how that could be useful that I'm just not seeing. Is there even a dilithium one? Oh, it's over here. I mean, way out here, you get more capacity for the vaults, so you can put more stashed away. It's still not really helping the economy problem. So, not quite sure what's going on there or why they think that'll be helpful, but it doesn't seem like these researches just seem like a waste of space. And of course, since they're going to be requirement, this is what this is. This is like a gate, a time gate here. This is, you have to waste your materials doing something that's a limited quantity of materials in order to upgrade stuff after it. And at some point in time, you'll probably have to come back and be like, oh, this over here that you want to do requires this to be like tier 6. And you're like, great, now I got to dump more materials into something that gives me absolutely no in-game benefit to get to something after it that might be marginally helpful. Yeah, it'll absolutely be a prereq for something else. And these are kind of dreadful. They're an eyesore. I'll just call it what it is. They're just dreadful, and they're just a waste of space. They're a roadblock to make things more complicated. We get to a little bit better here. Here's some better piercing stats for your defense platforms. Cost efficiency of basic resources for ship components. If you're trying to upgrade your ship, it's going to get a little cheaper with the titanium and dilithium. Okay, this could be very helpful. There's already a couple other things that lower the cost of that, but anything that makes them cheaper. This is going to do repairs. Same thing. We just got some new repair research and stuff, but with Voyager. But hey, let's give us some more because everything still costs way too much. And this is upgrading materials for ship components. Now, this is the one that I kind of wanted to stop with for a second because flight materials here, which you can get at 54, which is where I am right now, if I can get out this far, improves cost efficiency. I want to take a snip of this. Because this looks very familiar to a multi-tiered prime that recently came out that was, setting the world on fire. Way back here at the beginning of said tree. Cost efficiency of materials. That would be this one. Cost efficiency of materials. So the first level of this G5 one is a 40% reduction, which puts you right here, right about here. And then it goes to 50% and then 65% by tier 3, which is still somewhere between 3 and 4. So this new prime that drastically reduced things, and people were talking about, well, if you get it up to like tier 6 or tier 7, which you got to spend like $400 to get to, then you can start upgrading and scrapping ships and getting more materials out of them than you put into them. People are talking about scrapping a Voklis and getting extra, more G3 materials than you put into it. People are talking about scrapping a Jellyfish and having it being net positive, where you're actually making more off scrapping the ship than you are off what you invested into it. And now there are these additional researches out here, which for G5 players will make things a little cheaper going forward, but it's also going to have that diminishing return effect if you invested in those primes. If you didn't invest in those primes, this is a way to get some of that same benefit without investing the money or waiting around for 2 years for the field training for Voyager to be completed so that you can get a couple levels for free out of it that way with the Dolomite being sourced there. This is another way to start getting some of those levels. But you got to get to 54 to do it. It does rank up a little bit. It goes all the way to 250, which is not as high as what the primes do. The primes go all the way up to 1,000% if you took it all the way to the max. Most people talk about getting it to here to tier 7 to start really seeing that big return on investment. That's at 450%. So between, maybe getting that up a little bit, getting this up a little bit, you can cobble something together and certainly invest a lot less cash to do so. And I thought that was at least worth pointing out. That there is another path to getting to that same benefit. Two years, you're going to be done with the field research within a year. If you can find ways to spend all of these tokens, I'm in the wrong folder, to get and source all of these commerce insignias, I mean, maybe 100,000. Maybe you can do it in a year. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. But this one's definitely going to be a roadblock that's going to hold people up in terms of trying to get this completed, to get this dolomite, and eventually get past it to get this one for mining. The mining one's not that bad. 50 million seems like a lot, but once you get Voyager up a couple of tiers, you're mining a couple 100,000 at a time. 50 million will probably go a lot faster than spending 100,000 insignia tokens when you get, 100 at a time. But that's still going to take a very long time. So back to our station tree. So now we're moving through. We're out here with our flight materials. More base defense. Now we're getting into the storage. Now you can tuck more away in your vault. So that's just more resources that people can't steal from you if they crack your base open. Which, why would they be able to crack your base open? Because you just spent all of these researches doing more damage and more strength to your mitigation for your defense platforms to make your base even harder to get through. But even if they manage to, well, now you've got more storage. Woohoo, whoopity-doo. Now we get out a little further, we get more repair speed, more scrapping speed, more boosts to defense platforms. Depending on what ship they're doing, more boost to defense platforms. Now you get another cost efficiency repairing based on your faction ships. So your faction ships will get better in terms of repair speed and repair costs. Your non-faction ships, like your Defiant, like your Voyager, basically anything that's not bought through your faction store, these don't apply to. So your Talios, your Defiant, your Voyager, they're still going to cost what they're going to cost to repair. And then this is all station combat boosting at the end of the tree. But these require you to be Ops 58 to even get out this far. So this is all G5 rare plus 56 and up kind of stuff out here. But the flight materials and the orbital, for anybody who's in that 54 range, and you're thinking about why am I wasting my time with this tree, I did want to make sure people did look ahead to these a little bit because they do mimic the primes. Now you could obviously, it might be cheaper to get them, to buy the primes than getting all the way out here when you're looking at the material cost of 5 billion, 6 billion dilithium per research. It's a lot. It's a lot of dilithium, and there aren't really easy ways to source some of this stuff. So that's it. I just want to take a few minutes and just kind of talk about a few of the highlights of that tree, a few of the lowlights of that tree, and that was it. You get bonus insignias from Borg cubes. You do when you get into that system. You do get a few more insignias if you get them to drop chests. I have not had very good success in those systems with getting the Borg cubes to drop many chests. I think I got 3 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10 when I was there last time. Bel Air, you're kind of still roadblocked at the rare gas for 47. Yeah. Like you said, 48 and 49 kind of go a little faster after that. But there's definitely some rare material roadblocks at 46 and 47. Hey, Olympus, welcome on in. Couple 100 billion dilithium. I'm hearing people saying that whole tree costs actually trillions of dilithium. Like tens of trillions of dilithium, but yeah. I guess we'll see next time they have an SLB for research. I'll probably crank out or try to do a few of them. Actually, I didn't do a research today, so let me at least find something else to start. See if there's anything else in my Voyager tree that I can learn today. Oh, we can still do more. I'll take 5% more from killing stuff. Sure, why not? But yeah, there is some overlap here with some of those things. You know, some of the new Voyager, this is giving you a cost efficiency for repairing ships. So at the end of the Voyager tree, you're getting another research that's giving you a cost reduction to repairing one. So now you're spending billions of dilithium getting the same benefit as something you're getting here at an earlier level. Maybe not to the exact level, but now when you do spend in that G5 range, when you eventually get there, you're seeing that diminishing return. I'm going to work on this one a little bit, do some cargo boosting. So, yep, definitely Nicole creating pain points for sure. Absolutely. It's a junk research barrier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do have a lot of power, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, boosting hull capacity probably be up next to get some more cargo capacity. The unsung heroes of STFC, the G5 players. I know there's a lot of you guys in your mid 40s right now, and you're thinking to yourself, like, you know, what am I looking forward to? What's going on ahead of me if I do decide to move into the 50s? Well, here's a new feature that they just added that they expect to fix the economy that they're not going to fix directly themselves, or at least as of today, it doesn't seem like that's where they're headed. So if you're camped at 49 and you're like, I'm just going to stay here for a while because I'm going to wait, you know, for them to release G6 and maybe they'll backfill and change some stuff and make it cheaper, they might still do that. They might still do that and you know, and scale some stuff down. If nothing else, maybe they'll scale the cost of commons to uncommons. So instead of spending 12 to 1 for every common material, for 12 latinum getting you one common material, you know, 4 stars only cost, it's 4 to 1. It used to be 10 to 1. They scaled it down to 4 to 1. You know, this stuff here is still 12 to 1 for G5 stuff. Can't find anything, of course, that takes it that I can, yeah. And maybe that part of the economy might get a little tweak to it. Maybe it won't be 12. Maybe it'll go down to like 8 or 9 to 1. It'll save you a little bit of latinum if you're trying to move up and move through some stuff. Um, but it also seems like they might be relying more on this new research to kind of fix the problem for them. I don't know. Could be wrong. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, like always. But that's where my mind is taking me. That's where I'm thinking things are going to happen. So G6 coming out isn't going to have a huge impact for the lower tiers, the G4 and the mid G5 economy. Nicole, you just got to Ops 52, and the commons are actually really hurt. Yeah, the commons suck because you'll get to these things and it's like 40,000, 50,000 per building, and you're like, well, at 12 to 1, that's like 700,000 latinum if I don't have it, or a million latinum on one building component. And then you do your refinery pull and you're like, here's 400, and you're like, great, I only need 49,600 more to go. It's definitely a pain point. And I can understand. I saw at least one or two people say earlier, like, yeah, that's why I pretend the game just ends at Ops 49. Awesome. That is certainly a strategy and a mentality that will work. And kudos to you guys who are implementing that. And gals.